From muscle car legend to modern icon, the Dodge Charger RT evolved from 1968 to 2023. Bold style, big power, always loud. From wraparound taillights to wild Hellcats, here's how it changed through the years. Number 1, second generation, 1968 to 1970. The 1968 Dodge Charger RT came back with a brand new design. This was the start of the second generation. It didn't look like the old one anymore. Dodge gave it something called Coke bottle styling. That means it had curved sides that made it stand out from other cars. The front grille had hidden headlights, and the back had round taillights. These made the Charger RT look tough and modern. Just wait until you hear this. Dodge planned to build only 35,000 Chargers in 1968, but people loved it so much that they made over 96,000, and more than 17,000 were RT models. That shows how fast this car became popular. Under the body, the Charger RT still used the Chrysler B platform. That's the base that helps hold the car together. The car came with big engine choices. It had the powerful 440 cubic inch V8 called the Magnum. And if you really wanted speed, there was the famous 426 Hemi. These engines gave the RT amazing performance on the road. Let's talk about the inside. The 1968 Charger RT had a front bench seat instead of folding buckets. The gauges were changed to a regular style. No more glowing lights like before. There was a center console but no center armrest. And the trunk had a vinyl mat instead of carpet. Now here's something cool. In 1968, Dodge created a special group of muscle cars. They called it the Scat Pack. The Charger RT was part of this group. These cars had bumblebee stripes on the back. They were bold and easy to spot. You could get the stripes in black, white, or red, or ask for no stripes at all. Now picture this. The Charger RT got even more famous because of a movie. The film Bullitt came out in 1968. It had a wild car chase through the steep streets of San Francisco. Steve McQueen drove a Mustang, and he was chasing a black 1968 Charger RT 440. That scene is still one of the most talked about car chases in movie history. In 1969, the Charger RT kept the same muscle, but looked even meaner. Dodge made a few smart changes that year. The front grille now had a center divider. The back taillights were longer and thinner, stretching across the back of the car. These parts were designed by Harvey J. Wynn. He helped make the Charger look sharper and more polished. Right after that, Dodge added something new called the Special Edition, or SE. You could get it by itself or add it to the RT. The SE gave you a wood grain steering wheel, leather seat inserts, and shiny chrome on the bottom sides of the car. The dashboard also had a wood grain look. Here's something fun. In 1969, you could even order a sunroof on your Charger, but it was super rare. Only 260 Chargers had it that year. Back to the engine, 1969 gave you more choices. There were two 383 engines. One had a 2-barrel carburetor and made 290 horsepower. The other had a 4-barrel and made 330 horsepower. That one was special to the Charger. It had bigger exhaust parts and a stronger camshaft, but it was still different from the 383 Magnum used in Roadrunners and Super Bs. Here's another fun fact. Dodge painted each engine a different color. Most B-Series engines were turquoise, but the high-performance ones were orange. The 440 Magnum and 383 4-speed were painted Chrysler high-performance orange. The Hemi got a brighter shade called Street Hemi Orange. Now hold on. This next part made the Charger super famous. A TV show called The Dukes of Hazzard came out in 1979. It starred an orange 1969 Dodge Charger named the General Lee. The car had 01 on the doors, a Confederate flag on the roof, and a horn that played the song Dixie. Every week, people saw the Charger jump through the air. It became a true star on television. Let's move to the final year of this generation, 1970. Dodge gave the Charger RT a few more updates. The grille no longer had a center divider. Instead, it was one big opening with a wraparound chrome bumper. The hidden headlights now used electric motors, not vacuum parts. That made them more reliable. In the back, the taillights looked like the 1969 ones. But on the RT, they added a new panel that made it stand out. Dodge also put new scoops on the front doors with the RT badge. These gave the car a racing feel. But that's not all. It had a new engine option. It was the 440 6-pack. This engine had 3 two-barrel carburetors and made 390 horsepower. It was one of the wildest setups Dodge had used since the early 1960s. This engine had first shown up on the 1969 Dodge Super Bee. Now it made its way to the Charger RT lineup. Dodge also introduced new paint colors. They were bright and exciting. One was called Top Banana, another was Panther Pink. These colors helped the Charger RT catch people's eyes even faster. Inside the 1970 Charger, Dodge added high-back front seats and updated door panels. The glove box now opened from the bottom, and the ignition switch moved to the steering column. A pistol grip shifter was now offered for manual transmission models. Also, Dodge gave the Charger a bench front seat option, something it hadn't had since it first came out. And just when you thought Dodge was done, they added more SE options. You could get the 500 SE or the RTSE. These had luxury features on top of the Charger's muscle car power. Now here's something big. The 1970 Charger RT helped Dodge win big in NASCAR. It won more races that year than any other car, including the Daytona and Superbird. Bobby Isaac won the Grand National Championship driving a Charger, and Buddy Baker became the first driver to legally go over 200 miles per hour in a blue number 88 Daytona. Even in Hollywood, this Charger stayed in the spotlight. You may have seen it in the Fast and the Furious movies. Its shape and strength made it a top pick for fast driving scenes. Year after year, the Charger RT changed just enough to stay ahead. From movie fame to NASCAR wins, the second generation made a lasting mark. Number 2, third generation, 1971 to 1974. By 1971, the body got a new design, but the engine still packed a punch. This was the third generation. Dodge changed its B-body platform to meet safety and pollution rules. The new look had a split front grille, curvy fuselage sides, and a semi-fastback rear window. A small ducktail spoiler was also added. These changes gave the Charger a fresh identity while keeping its muscle car spirit. Now let's talk design. The front grille now had 2 halves with a divider in the middle. The headlights could be regular or the older flip style as an option. The roofline was smoother, and the windows were slightly more sloped. The Charger RT still had a long body, but now it looked rounder and more modern. Inside the 1971 Charger RT, the interior was reshaped. It now looked more like the Dodge Challenger and Plymouth Roadrunner. The bucket seats were comfortable, and the dashboard was easier to use. Dodge also added a new feature called the Ram Charger hood. It had a pop-up scoop above the air cleaner that could be opened from inside the car. This scoop helped bring in cooler air during strong driving. Then came the engine choices. The RT came standard with a 440 cubic inch V8 called the Magnum. The top option was still the 426 cubic inch Hemi. The famous 6-pack engine with 3 two-barrel carburetors also returned for 1971. It had big power and was paired with a 4-speed manual or automatic. But this would be the last year for both the Hemi and the 6-pack in the Charger. Just wait until you hear this. Only 63 Hemi RTs were made in 1971. That makes them extremely rare today. Dodge also stopped making the Charger RT after this year. From now on, a new version would take its place. In 1972, Dodge replaced the RT badge with a new name, Rally. The 1972 Charger Rally became the new high-performance trim. It had the same long body and bold shape, but with new details. The SE, or Special Edition, got a formal roof design and special front lights. These lights looked smooth and flush with the grille. The engines also changed this year. The big 383 engine was gone. It was replaced by a 400 cubic inch V8 with lower compression. That means it was a bit weaker than before. Dodge now used a new way to rate power, which made the numbers look smaller. The 440 V8 still stayed, but its number dropped to 280 horsepower using the new system. Another big change came in fuel use. Starting in 1972, Dodge made engines with hardened valve seats. This meant the cars could run on regular or unleaded gasoline. That helped the Charger keep going, even as fuel laws got stricter. Here's something rare. Dodge planned to offer the 6-pack engine in 1972, but it was dropped after just a few cars were made. Most say only 6 Chargers got it that year. It didn't meet the new rules for emissions, so Dodge pulled it out early. Back to performance, drivers could still get a pistol grip 4-speed shifter. It worked with the 340, 400, or 440 engines, but the Ram Charger hood was now gone. Dodge also removed the strong Dana 60 rear axle after this year. That was the end of many muscle features. Moving to 1973, the Charger got a wider body. Dodge added new sheet metal to make the car longer and taller. The grille was changed again, and the taillights now had straight vertical lines. Flip-up headlights were removed from the options list. The Charger Rally stayed as a sporty version. It offered a 340 engine, but now you could also get a 362-barrel V8. Other choices included a low-power 400 or a high-power 440 with dual exhaust. Most buyers picked smaller engines now, as insurance costs were rising. The SE model looked very different. It had a new vinyl roof with triple opera windows. These were small windows on each side, giving the car a fancy look. Other models had larger rear side windows with new shapes. These changes made the Charger look less sporty and more like a luxury car. Even with fewer high-power engines, sales climbed. Dodge sold about 108,000 Chargers in 1973. This was the best year for the third generation. Most buyers choose comfort over speed. By 1974, the Charger had only small changes. The front bumper got bigger rubber tips to meet 5-mile-per-hour crash rules. The inside had a softer grain pattern on the seats and dashboard. More paint colors were offered. The 340 engine was gone. In its place, Dodge added a stronger 360 with a 4-barrel carburetor. The Rally still offered the 440 options. You could get a 4-speed stick shift with all of them except the 440. Now look at the back axle. Drivers could still pick special rear-end ratios like 3.23 Sure Grip. That helped with better takeoff speed. But the muscle era was ending. Dodge moved the Charger closer to being a personal luxury car. Fewer buyers wanted raw power. They wanted comfort and smooth rides. And in racing between 1972 and 1977, Dodge Chargers ran strong in NASCAR. Richard Petty drove this body style and won 35 races with it. He called it his favorite car because it felt balanced and steady on the track. In 1977, Neil Bonnet drove a 1974 Charger to Dodge's final win in NASCAR for over 2 decades. From powerful muscle to smooth style, this generation shaped what Dodge muscle looked like in the early 1970s. Number 3, fourth generation, 1975 to 1978. By 1975, the Charger RT was starting to shift toward luxury. The fourth generation Dodge Charger brought big changes. Dodge wanted the Charger to fit in with personal luxury cars like the Chevrolet Monte Carlo. That meant less focus on racing and more focus on comfort and looks. The Charger now shared its body with the new Chrysler Cordoba. Both cars were built on the same B-body frame, but the Charger had its own features. Right from the start, only one version was offered, the Charger SE, or Special Edition. It had a long, square body and was built to look rich, not fast. The body shape was blocky, with sharp edges and a wide front. The grille was flat, and the headlights were set deep. The windows had chrome trim, and many cars had a vinyl roof. Now about the engines. The 1975 Charger SE came with different V8 engines. The base engine was a 318 cubic inch small block. You could also pick a 360 cubic inch small block with a 2-barrel carburetor. If you wanted more power, Dodge offered a 400 cubic inch big block. One version of this engine had dual exhausts and made 225 horsepower. That was the top choice for buyers who still wanted performance. But racing teams were not happy. Because of the square body, NASCAR drivers could not use the 1975 sheet metal. So, Dodge let them keep racing with the 1974 Charger shape until early 1978. That's how Dodge stayed in NASCAR, even though the street car had changed. Here's something wild. In 1976, a Charger raced in the 24 Hours of Le Mans, a famous race in France. It had to be changed with working headlights, taillights, and wipers. It was painted with an Olympia beer logo and got the nickname Oli Express. It was driven by Herschel and Doug McGriff. This made the Charger one of the rare American cars to race in that event. Now let's move to 1976. Dodge added more Charger models. There were now 4 choices: Base, Sport, SE, and Daytona. The Base and Sport models came from the old Dodge Coronet 2-door body. These used a different shape than the SE and Daytona. You could even get a 6-cylinder engine called the Slant 6 in the base and sport models. That engine was 225 cubic inches. The SE and Daytona used the fancier body with more trim and features. The Daytona was not like the racing Charger Daytona from 1969. This was just a look package. You could get a stripe that ran along the side of the car. The Daytona came with a 360 or 400 cubic inch V8 engine. These were not high-performance engines, but they gave the car a solid drive. Sales went up in 1976. Dodge sold around 65,900 Chargers. This showed that people liked the more comfortable style, even if it wasn't as sporty anymore. Let's keep going. 1977 brought more cuts. Dodge dropped the base and sport models. These two styles were moved to a new model called the Dodge Monaco. That left only the SE and Daytona for the Charger name. The SE stayed as the top trim, offering soft seats, extra trim, and a smooth ride. The Daytona kept its sporty paint and stripes, but still used the same engines. Production dropped again. Dodge built around 30,367 Chargers in 1977. Most of them were SE models, with fewer Daytonas sold. Even though the Charger was losing its muscle car roots, it was still part of Dodge's plan to attract buyers who like big, stylish cars. Now, for the last year of this generation, 1978, Dodge made no big changes this year. The Charger SE and Daytona returned with the same shape and the same engines. The body was wide and squared off, with chrome bumpers and padded roof options. No racing parts were added, and the focus stayed on comfort. Only 2,735 Chargers were made in 1978. It was the lowest number of any Charger year so far. Buyers were moving to other cars. That same year, Dodge brought out a new car, the Dodge Magnum. It used the same B-body frame, but had a fresh look with rounded corners and covered headlights. The Magnum replaced the Charger as Dodge's personal luxury car. During these 4 years, the Charger changed more than ever before. It had gone from muscle car to personal cruiser. The focus had shifted to soft seats, smooth rides, and fancy looks. Number 4, fifth generation, 1981 to 1987. The 1981 Dodge Charger returned in a new way. This time, it was no longer a big rear-wheel drive car. Instead, it came back as a smaller, front-wheel drive hatchback. The new Charger used the Dodge Omni 024 as its base. It had a shorter wheelbase and compact design. This model focused on lightweight, better fuel use, and faster handling in city driving. Right from the start, the Charger 2.2 package gave the car a sporty edge. It came with a new Chrysler-built 134 cubic inch inline-4 engine. This motor produced 84 horsepower, a big step up from the older Volkswagen engine used in other Omni models. It also had a hood scoop, rear spoiler, unique side stripes, and special window trim. Dodge sold about 7,306 of these in 1981. Then came 1982. The Charger came back without many changes. A small emblem was added to the hood, and a new part was added to the exhaust to reduce noise. That year, production more than doubled to 15,000. It was still based on the Omni, but the Charger name was gaining strength again. Everything changed in 1983. Dodge dropped the Omni 024 name and made Charger the car's full name. The Plymouth version was now called Turismo. Also that year, the Charger line got a major upgrade. Carroll Shelby worked with Dodge to create the Dodge Shelby Charger. It used the same base but added stiffer suspension, stronger brakes, better tires, and a sharper look. The Shelby Charger had a new 134 cubic inch engine with higher compression. It made 107 horsepower. That was a big jump in performance for such a small car. The Shelby version also had a two-tone paint job, special seats, and sharper steering. For many buyers, it felt like a true sports compact. Shifting gears to 1984, Dodge made more big moves. The base Charger now had quad headlights to help it stand apart from the Omni. The Shelby version kept its older nose design, but both cars shared most parts. This helped lower costs. The turbocharged engine also arrived this year on the Shelby model. Now let's talk power. The 1984 Shelby Charger Turbo came with a small turbo unit made by Garrett. It was a T3 unit with no intercooler. Even without that cooling part, the engine made 142 horsepower and 160 pound-feet of torque. It used a 5-speed manual only. The automatic transmission was not offered with the turbo engine. Here came 1985, Dodge updated the turbo system. The new computer system allowed for more boost pressure. This raised the power to 146 horsepower. The Shelby Charger was also offered in new colors like black with silver stripes. The engine stayed the same size at 2.2 liters, but the extra boost gave better acceleration. Also in 1985, Plymouth released a version called the Turismo Duster. It looked just like the older Shelby Charger, but had different badges. It never got the turbo engine though. Some turbocharged Plymouth test cars were made, even with CUDA badges, but they never went into full production. For 1986, Dodge added a high-mounted stoplight for safety. The base Charger got a stronger engine too, now making 96 horsepower from the same 134 cubic inch inline-4. This helped even the non-turbo cars feel more responsive. Everything reached a peak in 1987. That year, Dodge stopped building the Charger after 7 years in this new form. But Carroll Shelby had one last surprise. He bought the final 1,000 Chargers built and turned them into a special version. It was called the Shelby GLHS, which stood for Goes Like Hell S'more. This version used the Turbo 2 engine. It had an intercooler and a stronger fuel system. The power jumped to 175 horsepower and 175 pound-feet of torque. It also had a special 2-piece intake, Shelby-tuned computer, and upgraded suspension. These were the fastest and most powerful Chargers of this generation. The GLHS came only with a 5-speed manual and special Shelby badges. These 1,000 cars were not badged as Dodge. They were sold by Shelby himself and marked the final chapter of this compact Charger era. Even though the body came from an economy car, Dodge gave the Charger name new life through creativity and performance tuning. From 84 to 175 horsepower in just 6 years, the 5th generation Charger showed how speed could come in small packages. Number 5, 6th generation, 2006 to 2010. After a long break, the Charger RT made a big comeback in 2006. This Charger RT brought back power and attitude after 20 years away. This time, the Charger returned as a 4-door sedan, built on the Chrysler LX platform. It came with rear-wheel drive and optional all-wheel drive. The design was sharp, blocky, and bold, with strong lines and a wide front grille that carried Dodge's crosshair style. Let's begin with the engine choices. The RT model featured a 350 cubic inch Hemi V8. At launch, this engine produced 350 horsepower and 390 pound-feet of torque. It used a 5-speed automatic transmission with auto stick, which allowed manual-style shifting. This setup made the car quick and smooth, especially for a sedan weighing nearly 2 tons. Here's something smart. The RT's engine had multi-displacement system technology. This system shuts off 4 cylinders during light driving to save fuel. It could switch back to 8 cylinders in just 40 milliseconds. That meant better gas mileage without giving up performance. In 2006, Dodge also released the Daytona RT. It had a sportier suspension, unique body decals, and a performance intake system that bumped the Hemi's power to 350 horsepower. Dodge made limited runs in special colors like Go Man Go, orange, top banana yellow, and Tour red. Each car had a numbered dash plaque showing its place in the limited production. Now let's talk about design. The Charger RT's body was wide and strong-looking. The headlights were narrow and slanted, giving it an aggressive face. Inside, the RT had a comfortable layout with supportive seats and clear gauges. It came with power windows, air conditioning, and an optional navigation system. The SRT8 version added sport seats with suede inserts and heated functions. After 1 year in 2007, Dodge updated the Daytona RT. It now came with large 20-inch chrome wheels and 2 new colors, Sublime Green and Plum Crazy Purple. These bright colors were a throwback to the Charger's high-impact paint options from the early 1970s. By 2008, a new stripe package gave the Daytona RT an updated appearance. That year's color was Hemi Orange. The Charger RT still used the 167 cubic inch V6 engine and was capable of generating 186 horsepower and 191 pound-feet of torque. Then in 2009, the Charger RT engine got a major upgrade. Dodge introduced the new Eagle version of the 350 cubic inch Hemi. It added variable camshaft timing and improved airflow. Power jumped to 368 horsepower, and torque reached 395 pound-feet. The Eagle engine also used a higher compression ratio of 10.5 to 1, up from 9.6. Let's go deeper. The Eagle Hemi had stronger connecting rods, a better oil pump, and reshaped combustion chambers. The intake valves were larger at 2.05 inches. These upgrades helped the engine breathe better and stay cooler under load. The result was more power, better throttle response, and improved efficiency. On the road, the Charger RT felt balanced for its size. The rear-wheel drive setup made it feel like a true performance sedan. It had a long wheelbase and wide stance, helping with cornering. Some drivers said the steering felt a little light, but overall handling was solid. The ride was smooth, though V8 models with stiffer suspension could bounce slightly over rough roads. Braking was strong, thanks to large four-wheel disc brakes with anti-lock. The RT's brakes stopped well even after repeated hard use. Some reviews mentioned that brake pedal feedback felt soft, but stopping power was never a problem. Inside, the RT had a roomy cabin. There was enough space for 5 adults, plus a large trunk for cargo. Optional features included a rear seat DVD player, upgraded stereo, and sunroof. Later models added modern comforts like heated seats, adjustable pedals, and automatic climate control. By 2010, the Charger RT came with the most refined version of its generation. It used the upgraded 350 cubic inch Hemi engine with a multi-displacement system, MDS, and generated 368 horsepower. It kept the 5-speed automatic with auto stick. An optional all-wheel drive gave better traction in rain or snow. And the impressive thing, within the class of muscle cars, the Charger RT's horsepower is only beaten by the 372 horsepower Challenger RT. Overall, the 2006 to 2010 Dodge Charger RT brought strong performance back to the sedan world. Each year brought useful upgrades, from engine improvements to new features and special editions. It became a popular choice for drivers who wanted muscle car strength with modern style. Number 6, 7th generation, 2011 to 2023. The 2011 Dodge Charger RT started a new chapter. It came with a fresh shape, sharper lines, and stronger details. Its new wraparound taillights made the back end look bold. The front got meaner too, with pointy headlights and a new grille. On the inside, the dash and seats felt more grown up and high-end. More glass and slimmer roof pillars helped the driver see better, something many people wanted. Let's move to the engine. In 2011, the base V6 models used a new 225 cubic inch Pentastar engine. It made 292 horsepower and had a timing chain instead of a belt. For 2012, a big change arrived. The RT with the 350 cubic inch Hemi stayed, but Dodge added an 8-speed automatic to the V6 models. This helped gas mileage on the highway by 4 miles per gallon. That same year, Dodge brought back the Charger SRT8. It had a huge 390 cubic inch V8 that made 470 horsepower. It could hit 60 miles per hour in just over 4 seconds. Also in 2012, Dodge introduced the Super B version. This had SRT8 power, but fewer luxury extras to keep the cost lower. It had cool colors like pitch black and stinger yellow. That year, Dodge also added all-wheel drive to V6 models. Now drivers in snowy places have more options. By 2013, the Charger RT had even more styles. The Mopar 11 edition stood out with a black body, blue racing stripe, and a sportier feel. It had special gears, a tuned suspension, and bigger brakes. Then came the RT Blacktop. This one had 20-inch black wheels, dark trim, and a powerful stereo. It used a cold air intake and better exhaust parts to reach 300 horsepower. Let's not forget the 2013 Daytona. It was based on the RT and came in 4 colors, like Daytona Blue and Pitch Black. It had fancy wheels, a satin black grille, and bright blue stitching inside. The engine was still the same 350 cubic inch V8, but it got a special high-speed engine controller and sportier tuning. Pushing forward to 2014, Dodge celebrated 100 years. They made the Charger RT 100th Anniversary Edition. It had 8 color choices, including header orange and high-octane red. The wheels were shiny, the badges were special, and the seats came in bright red or black leather. Inside, there was a big touchscreen with Beats audio. It was fun and fancy at the same time. Then came 2015. Big changes showed up again. The Charger got a complete front-end update. The nose looked rounder and more modern. The headlights had LED lights that looked sharper. Dodge kept the same size but made the car feel more athletic. The RT had better brakes, a tighter suspension, and a new steering system. In 2015, Dodge also added the RT Scat Pack. This model borrowed the engine from the SRT 392, which meant it had a 390 cubic inch V8, making 485 horsepower and 475 pound-feet of torque. It came with big brakes and sports seats. The shocks were not adjustable like the SRTs, but it still drove very well. The Scat Pack looked almost like the Hellcat from the outside, with its hood scoop and wide tires. Jump to 2020. That year, the Charger RT Scat Pack got a wide body option. It added wider fenders, 11-inch wheels, and large Pirelli tires. The suspension used adaptive Bilstein shocks with 3 drive modes. It also had huge brakes with 6-piston calipers and big rotors to stop quickly. The steering switched to electric assist, making it smoother and quicker to turn. Still in 2020, the Hellcat Red Eye showed up. While it was not an RT, it showed what Dodge was doing with power. It used a supercharged V8 engine, making 797 horsepower. It also got beefed-up parts like stronger axles, better cooling, and a tough transmission. The RT line didn't get this much power, but it shared the spirit of speed. Moving on to 2021, Dodge made the Charger even more fun. The Red Eye now had launch control, line lock for burnouts, and active cool-down systems. At the same time, the standard Charger RT stayed a solid pick for people who wanted V8 fun without Hellcat prices. It had a good mix of power and comfort. By 2022, Dodge introduced the Jailbreak Edition. While it was based on the Red Eye, the idea behind it mattered to the RT too. Jailbreak meant people could pick colors, stripes, wheels, and more. The idea of custom style spread to the whole Charger line, including the RT. Now comes the final year of the 7th generation, 2023. Dodge added last call badges to honor the end of this generation. The RT got a 345 badge to remind people of the engine size in cubic inches. Dodge also brought back famous colors like Plum Crazy, Sublime Green, and B5 Blue. These shades were a tribute to old muscle car history and gave the RT models a fitting farewell. Inside the 2023 Charger RT, the cabin was built more for function than luxury. It had solid materials, great rear seat legroom, and lots of storage, including a clever spot beside the shifter for your phone. The trunk was large enough to hold 18 carry-on bags with the seats folded, beating many rivals. The Uconnect system with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto came standard, though some controls worked only through the touchscreen. Safety tech like blind spot monitoring and emergency braking was offered, but not standard. Still, the final RT delivered power, space, and classic style. That's the wild ride of the Dodge Charger RT from 1968 to 2023. Drop a comment, hit like, and don't forget to subscribe for more awesome classic car stories.